Began her journey at Flipkart as the sole content designer, collaborating with large teams to create innovative digital experiences. Now, as a senior content designer at Zeta, she simplifies fintech challenges, making banking more accessible through thoughtful content strategy. Swathi, I welcome you. Please be on the stage.
Hello people. Wait a minute. Alright, so I just had a quick question. How many of you have had the pleasure of working with a content designer or a UX writer or whatever you want to call it? How many of you have been unfortunate enough to write your own content? Awesome. So today I am trying to show you how to make, I'm just here to show you how to write your content just a tad bit better, yeah? But why should you listen to me? I spent about half a decade as a content designer and I've designed content in not one but two languages where I helped, launch Flipkart in Tamil. So that's two languages, one in English and one in Tamil. And one personal thing about me is that my first book series is in the making. So you'll know it when it launches. Let's get one thing clear first. There is a massive difference between copywriting and UX writing. Do anyone of you know what it is? Alright. Copywriting is all about marketing and selling a product. So it tells a story, it sells a product, it is emotional, attractive, and all of these notifications that you see here on the screen are all copywriting. Whereas UX writing is what guides your user to use your product. It is clear, it concise, it guides the user within the UI, sometimes out of it as well. So, content design is not just words. It is a mix of design, information architecture, research, information hierarchy, anything to do with design. It also has to do with content. Okay, time for confession. How many of you have used lorem ipsum in your work just to keep things moving? Okay, thank you so much for being honest about it. I'm sure you didn't mean to send it, live when you wrote lorem ipsum. You just wanted to keep things moving. You were trying to get something done super quickly and you didn't have the time to write. But this is what happens when, you use lorem ipsum and you probably forgotten about it. That last screen in particular was from WhatsApp and I used it and they say lorem ipsum. So, let's try this. What happens if you replace lorem ipsum on an app that that you've been using all your lives? In case you haven't realized it, this is Amazon, and I have replaced all the words that were on the app with lorem ipsum. Do you think a user can proceed from here to wherever they want to? They may not be. For all the help that lorem ipsum is, you might as well remove all the words from there and give them a blank canvas. Here comes content design, where you have clear and purposeful content where it tells the user what to do, when to do, and where to do things. So, let's begin with the basics of content design. The first one being know your users. When you say know your users, the first thing that I want to tell you is you may be a user, but you are not the user. So understand the user context. Where are they when they're using the app? What are they trying to do? Understand their needs, pain points and behaviors, because only then will you be able to help them better in getting them to do whatever they want. And this is an amazing example where a next billion user with low digital literacy is trying to make a UPI payment for the first time. Imagine what would be their thoughts. What are they trying to, are they worried about the money being lost? Is somebody guiding them? You don't understand what the user is going through, and you don't have the right words to tell them if you don't know what the user, who your user is. And if you have to ask yourself one question to make sure you are writing for your users, it would be this: what is the user doing, and why would they need this information? If you're able to answer this, then you are probably like in the right tracks with your content. The second one is keep it simple. And we think that using big flowery language or using very technical words makes us sound very well learned. But the thing is, we're not writing for ourselves. So use consistent terms. That example that I've added, if you look at the second one, it has back and next in both the steps, but whereas the first one has back and next, previous and continue. It creates confusion to the users because they are trying to understand what is happening. And the other one is keep it short and concise. Like I said, language is super important, but you also have to think about your user when it comes to writing for them. Write in plain language. We will take a minute to understand what I mean by plain language. And one of the major issues that I find in writing is double negatives. When you look at this example, you see that do not cancel and cancel subscription. Both of them are negative, which increases the information load for the users. So it would be great if you could take a minute to think about rephrasing it better and probably telling them, you either tell them keep the plan or cancel subscription, where the labels are opposite, and it makes it easier for the user to understand what they're doing. Next to the plain language thing, what is plain language? It is no jargon, no complex sentence structure, and no confusing vocabulary. Like for example, we're all like very, we understand technology, we are in the back end of it, so we try to think that, okay, we may have to be elaborate about what is happening, but that may not be the case to the user. To the user, it could just be like, what is happening and why am I not able to move forward? Something like not connected, the internet is not working is all the information that they need. So one question for you to make sure that you are on the right track with content is, will the users understand this without further explanation? If you think they will be able to, then you are on the right track when you're writing in plain language. If not, please go back and rewrite. Write in active voice. This I cannot emphasize enough because I've given you examples. Active voice is when it says we've updated your account, and passive voice is your account has been updated. I am not against passive voice. You can use passive voice wherever you want, but it has to be used only when you are trying to soften the blow. Like for example, your account has been blocked. Makes more sense than we have blocked your account, where it is like us taking a personal stance saying we do not want to let you proceed types. And if you want like one hack to make sure that you're writing in active voice, if you are able to add by zombies at the end of your sentence, and if it still makes grammatical sense, then you are probably writing in passive voice. For example, your account has been updated by zombies. That makes perfect sense grammatically, then it means you are writing in passive voice. How do you check if you're writing in passive voice or not, even if the hack is not working? Is someone doing something, or is something just happening? If someone is doing something, then you're doing it right, active voice. And if something is just happening, then you're probably writing in passive voice and you may have to rewrite it. The fourth important thing is make it actionable. You need to use clear, specific verbs to tell the user where to go and what to do. Make the next step obvious. Like for example, for this example, it says choose your plan and the CTA says see the plans. So the user knows what is going to happen next when they click on that button. It needs to be as obvious as that for the user to go forward in their journey confidently without feeling confused or worried about what is going to happen in the next step. Am I going to get billed? Is my money going to be deducted? And all of that. Make sure that the content is useful. Again, this example, it says choose from any of our plans and you won't be charged until after your free month ends. This additional information is all the motivation that the user needs to proceed and be like, okay, they're not going to deduct my money until it's next month, and at least for somebody who is exploring this, they may want to go ahead and try that. And this information is the key piece of information that will lead them forward in their journey. The most important thing of all of this is front load the information and begin with the objective. Because users don't read in its entirety and they just skim. There is this pattern called F pattern reading where the users read in patterns of F, where they skip between words and lines and all of that. So for that, you need to grab the user's attention at the first go and front load the information with whatever you want the user to know about that particular step or product or feature. How do you make sure that is being run right? Does the user know what to do next without making any assumptions? If they're able to do it, you are doing a phenomenal job of it. Alright, moment of truth. If you will please pick up your phones and scan this, we will have a quick quiz about all of the topics that we discussed. Did you guys get a chance to scan that? Alright people, you have the QR here if you haven't scanned it yet. Let me know once we're good to go. Will it be able to play? Yes, please. We're good to go, right? Perfect. Okay, we have 55 people. 59. Alright, so the first question comes, what's the best way to structure content on a website? Put the most important info first, users will read everything if it's important to them, or explain the information in detail. What do you think it is? And you just have like 30 seconds to answer the questions, and we have 5 questions, just letting you know. I am so happy to see this. Can we move to the next one, please? For the people who answered, yes, you need to put the most important information first. And the second question is, what happens if you don't know your audience? You may use the wrong tone or format, your content may not solve their problem, users may ignore your content, or all of the above. Again, lovely people. It is all of the above because you need to know, like for example, it would be like writing in Tamil for an English audience if you didn't know your audience. Can we move to the next one? Okay. More words mean more clarity. True or false? This may feel like your school exams, but I kind of have fun, having these quizzes and stuff. This is amazing, where 60% of you have said false, and that's like the right answer because shorter words, plain language in concise sentences makes it all the more useful for the user rather than long lectures about what your product can do. Moving to the next one. Which sentence here is the simplest and the clearest? Authentication is needed before login. To proceed, kindly access the app using your credentials or sign into your account. This is amazing. Charisma, can you put up the leaderboard? Oh, we have one more. Sorry. Which email subject line is better? Exciting updates about a company's newest developments, or big news, a game-changing feature has just launched? This may look like a curveball, but if you think about it, you can get it. Whooping 87%. Great job, people. That is like the right answer because it's the most simplest. It uses simple words and it talks to the user about the benefits they get when this feature is launched rather than just talking about my company, my product, my development and all of that. Can we have the leaderboard? Dev Mehta has done a phenomenal job. Congratulations. Thank you so much. I feel so proud. We have Swathi and Swathi on the second and third place.
Can we see Dev Mehta and Sanvi and Shivani? Can you please stand up? Okay. Shivani and Sanvi.
Fabulous job, people. Thank you. You made my day. I tell you. Alright, now that we've done this quick quiz, I will just give you a few more tips that you can probably keep in mind. One is write conversationally. Like I keep telling you, you are not the user, and the probability of a user knowing the amount of technical stuff that you do is like super less. So when you write conversationally, like you're explaining something to a friend who does not understand what you do. Tell the users the benefits, not the features. Like this quiz that we just looked at, it said, exciting new updates for you. Where you probably tell the users that, hey, we have all of this in store for you, rather than just talking about my app has so many features that you can use. You just have to rephrase it in a way that it makes the user think about the benefits for them rather than just the app or the features that the app contains. One more very simple thing is use numbers instead of words because numbers are easy to process than words, and even when the user is skipping words in between when they're skimming and scanning, it is easier to scan through and remember. Write in the present tense is one more thing where and especially in simple present tense. Something as simple as video downloaded makes so much more sense than instead of having like a long sentence that says video has been downloaded, and it's easier to scan as well. Tips continue. Don't reveal everything all at once. Stagger your information and use progressive disclosure. Again, progressive disclosure is a technical term where you divide a huge chunk of information into blocks and you probably reveal it to them in steps instead of just having all of the information in one go and overwhelming the user. Again, as a follow-up to that, avoid long blocks of text because the probability of a user reading through a huge chunk of text is like super low. Stagger it if you have to convey all of that information. Cut down on the words ruthlessly, and every word needs to deserve a place in your content if it has to stay on your app. And the most simplest of all the tips is read your content out aloud. If it doesn't sound like something that you'd probably tell somebody in a conversation, then you may have to rewrite it because the only things that are conversational makes it easier for the users to understand. Inclusivity and accessibility, especially in terms of content design, I just have the tips in terms of content design here. Right for the reading level of a 12-year-old. You may be an iOS developer, Android developer, or you're working for some product. The basic reading level is of a 12-year-old. That is probably 7th standard or 8th standard because again you don't know who the user is who's using your app. They may be somebody who just finished schooling or somebody who is like in their 40s, 50s, they're just trying to get through and they're trying to use your app to do something. You need to make sure that we are accessible to them. Avoid directional language like click here and instead focus on the action. When I say this is specifically for people who have disabilities when they're trying to somebody who uses a screen reader, they may not understand when you tell them click here. Where does click here mean? So instead focus on the action and tell them download the guide or read this terms and conditions or stuff like that. It makes it easier for them to consume that content. And always use gender neutral language like they instead of he or she because that is more inclusive. And I cannot stress on this enough because in all of my career as a content designer, there are only 2 apps in all of the Indian app universe that are found to have accessible content. So if you look at the one in the middle, that is a text for dyslexic people. I cannot insist on this too much because I have never seen apps that have these options. This one here in black is the app called News Laundry, and that the other 2 are actually a booking website for a resort. Can you see how bad we are when it comes to accessibility? And I keep telling people that accessibility in India is a joke. I think as indie developers, you should also take this into consideration and probably focus a tad bit more on inclusivity and accessibility. So at last, if you've forgotten everything that I've talked about to you today, and if you had to just ask yourself one question, you can ask yourself this: that why should a user care? If when you talk to your users or when you're developing an app for the users don't care about design, the users don't care about the content, they just care about what the app can do for you. And especially this is what happens when you come with good content, you will be able to answer this question of why should a user care, and you will be able to solve the user problems better. I'm open for questions. And before any of you ask, is AI going to take a content designer's job? Probably not. As long as AI needs words to be trained, my job is safe. But yeah, I'm open for questions. Alright, perfect. In that case, I have a cheat sheet for you guys that you can use. You can scan this and you'll get like a downloadable PDF. It's all the things that we've talked about, and yeah. Alright, shall we good?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Swathi. Thank you so much. That was such a wonderful presentation. So Swathi will be here. So Swathi is here for you guys to, if you have any any questions. We cannot take it live because of the time constraint. So before we break out for lunch, we are going to have a group photo. And I would request everyone to leave your bag where you're sitting and please come towards the stage. Hopefully, if you can stand in a height order, that would be really good so that we can cover everyone. So just give me 2 minutes so that we can have the arrangement ready on the stage. So our media team here, Usoshi, is going to instruct you how we are going to take the photo.
I'll give you a minute to arrange the chairs and then I'll guide all.